Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Delace here with me. It's an action-packed week of cricket that we talk about, but if you want to know what we're about, we're a South African cricket podcast that talks all things South African cricket. I do apologize today. I don't have my mic with me. It seemed to have died on me, so I'm going to have to go get it checked out. But remember, you can follow us at the Full Quota Pod on X. Subscribe to us on X, and also follow us on the Full Quota Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search for Full Quota Pod as well. Just added that in as well in the byline there at the bottom there. That's what it is. But we always talk about all things South African cricket. It's a really great week. It's the final week of the cricketing season. It's a month later, but I think you can forgive CSA for that. They gave us a lot of action-packed. It was a disappointing crowd in the final yesterday at the Wanderers, but we'll talk about those things as well as we go along. But most importantly, Tim is my co-host. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm recovering from being a dolphin for 24 hours after the loss.
You must stop supporting weird teams, man. Stop just come to the winning side. Come to the winning side. And with that, congratulations to the Lions on winning their second trophy of the season. Russell Domingo, Alan Donald, Hashim Amla, to the management team there, congratulations. Bjorn Fortuin, congratulations on your first ever win as captain. Star-started team nonetheless, but it was the guys on the peripheries who came through for this team, as the stars sometimes would wane and go. And we're going to talk about all of that as we go. We have normally when we start the show, we talk about we have a few topics that happened this week. During the final yesterday, it was the T20 World Cup kit for the Proteas was unveiled. It was a really good activation by CSA. And so we've got the kit, and I'm going to get your thoughts on it. I'm going to put it up, and I'm going to ask him what he thinks of it and if he's willing to buy it. It is 750 Rand and available for sale at all the various outlets at CSA's website. They have that, so go on the Twitter page, you can find it. Tim, obviously we're going with the yellow theme because it's an alternative kit. It's giving me, this is what when I looked at it, it was like, we're going back to the Caribbean. Remember in 2007, that World Cup, that kit that had the little side panels that you see here with the green and on the side. So it's giving me that. So it's giving me, oh snap, Australia are going to put up 270 and we're just going to suffer somewhere in the Caribbean. What do you make of this kit, Tim?
I hadn't actually made the connection with 2007. And I'm just having a look here now, and I'm looking at it, and yes, there's a similarity between the two, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm very, very, what's the word? I'm very, very strident in my views on World Cup kits that the Proteas have put out. I would say over the last decade. I think there's been an awful lot of missings from my point of view. It's a South African kit. It should be green with a little bit of yellow.
It's a T20 World Cup. The world is moving to alternative kits. You saw New Zealand and they're blue. They're tired of wearing black in the sun. I'm tired of
Theirs is equally horrible. Equally horrible. I don't get it. It's not New Zealand.
No, Tim. No.
It's ridiculous. And
so
again, they've done a similar thing. That's what they bought out in '99. Horrible, disgusting.
Wait. Before we leave New Zealand,
yeah,
the grey. Yeah. Are you a fan of the grey at least?
Yes, I would be more a fan of the grey. If they went the greys, I would be more grey. More fan of that.
So like Liverpool and alternative kits in soccer, right? That's what T20 is becoming. So what color should this kit be if it's not green?
if we're going alternative, well then we don't really have a choice. I'd have to really think deep and dive on that. Um, I
Look,
suppose
if
you
the
could go.
pants were
No, no.
yellow,
I tell you what. I tell you what. That kit that we bought, that we did, in when was it? It was a triangular tour to Australia. I think it was
the
'96. I
oh that
think
red kit.
the red kit. If they went the red way, I would feel a little bit better. If we are going on this alternative train, which I don't really get, but okay, fine, then the red for me, because we've had a lot of yellows in recent times.
Yes, but
Yellows,
that's who we are. We're
yellow.
green and
No, it's not.
gold.
It's Australia. Australia is yellow. I
But
don't know what
Australia
they get.
won't
What
be
they
wearing yellow. They're going to be wearing black or that black
well, we'll
slash
see.
dark green kit. So we're
We'll
all
see.
trying to go alternative, right? The question for me is, what does Pakistan do? I think they might go navy blue. That'd be very cool. But anyway, let's talk about this kit. I'm a fan of the yellow kit. I like the Protea embossed on it. It gives me the same thing as the World Cup kit of last year, but just yellow. The side paneling obviously is slightly different, and it gives it something else. I'd like to see the back if the side paneling goes through to the back. I like the whole South Africa flag at the top. I think it's something that Lotto can keep going forward for a World Cup. I'm a fan. From a date night perspective, would I wear it on a date? Yes, I would because I'm me. Um, but I'd give it a strong 7.5 out, actually 8 out of 10. I think there's not much you can do with the South African kit that's alternative. I like the collar, so they didn't go for a weirdish type of collar like the other teams that are there. So I think it's cool. Maybe if the collar was gold, so you had gold, green, and gold, that would have yeah. But I'm there. I'm there, Tim. I am there, 100% there. And
Okay.
for yes, Tim.
I was just gonna say on the flag thing. Okay, so I get the symbolism and the importance of it. It would be better if it was behind the South Africa and the front. If it was if it was coloured in behind the South African name, that would look a whole lot better
Okay.
for me.
Look at you, Tim. Designing advice. You see? So the question obviously would be, would you wear it on a date, Tim? And what's your rating?
Absolutely not. No way in
Oh,
hell am I wearing that on a date. No way.
okay. But you can let us know if you would wear it on the date. It's 750 Rand. I think it's really affordable. Let's support the guys. I think this is our we're going to World Cups like this. This is we feel good, we look good, but over the last month in the IPL, our players have kind of slowed down. Maybe it's because of a long season. But yeah, we have a chance, and maybe this is the kit that gets us finally to the World Cup. Imagine, so Tim, you would die if we won the World Cup and we're wearing yellow and green.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd be.
But
I'd
maybe
be
what you
delighted. I'd be delighted. But it would still bug me that we're wearing what I consider a rubbish kit. It would still
look,
bug me. It would.
look for me is it's better than the Castor kit or the Castor kits. We didn't even see a yellow. We did finally see a yellow kit with Castor, but that one was very basic. This at least has some thought to it, and I think the guys will do it. And luckily, their pants are not yellow; they're just green. So that's still we're still keeping into it. It's just weird. My only other thing is maybe we should have gone the Springbok route and gone turquoise and a little bit of white, like the Checker 6060, like the Springbok kit that nobody liked. Maybe I don't know. You know, try go left field, but the red idea would have been awesome if this kit had was predominantly red and green with
Yeah,
that recreate that 97 kit with that green Protea
yeah.
coming out of the bottom. Oh, that the
That
Mankai
was
and
good.
Tini that
Yeah,
that kit was amazing. Okay,
yeah.
that's the first thing. Let us know what you think about the kits because I think I like this kit actually. It's grown on me. Last night I was like, it's giving me Caribbean vibes. Why must we always go to a World Cup in the Caribbean with these side panels on the side? And like it's just it's giving me Sean Pollard getting smacked by what is it, Shane Watson, and Ricky Ponting in the Caribbean. So yeah, just bringing back nightmares, but in yellow. So yeah, cool. Obviously, we spoke about this a little bit last week. Bear Swanepoel and Dan de Pavillon joining. I think we spoke about Dan de Pavillon. Bear Swanepoel will be joining Kent this week. We also got this week that the National Academy squads were released. We don't have a graphic for that one, but I'll read out the CSA Emerging Academy men. Jade de Klerk from Border, Deanne Forrester from Free State, Valentine Kitime for Western Province, Duan Janssen from the Northwest, Tristan Lees, remember him, S under 19 from the Dolphins, Devin Murray, also S under 19 from the Easterns, Diteko Mudiri is from the Titans, Mihlali Mpongwana, Western Province, Nipo Mpungose from the Free State, Ngabayomzi Peter from the Lions, Caleb Sileka from the Northwest, Andile Semelani from the Dolphins, and then Dando Zuma from KZN Inland. Anything from there that anybody you're not happy about? I looked at Jade de Klerk and I was trying to figure out how old Jade de Klerk is, because he sounds like he's been in the setup for a while. Oh, he's only 25 years old. Okay, cool. It's because it was a lot of guys from SN 19, but Jade de Klerk's been playing for quite some time now. But he's a very good spinner, and I think he deserves a chance in the top flight. But we've got so many spinners in South Africa, so good to see that he's in the academy. Tim, any names that you are interested find that are not here that you should be here? Tim, you're on mute.
There. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. No, I got all of that. Apologies. I accidentally pressed the mute button. No, there are no. I can't think of anyone off the back of my hand at a quick notice. I don't have a problem with the squad. I think it is largely the correct squad. The only thing is, I think, without giving as I say, a specific name, and being too province bias, I think it could have had a couple of names. In terms of, I think 13 is too little. No.
Okay.
13, I think it should be 15 or 16. I think in an ideal world, if we would like a couple of more names, because it's going to be a camp for 3 months, as I understand. It's going to be May, June, July, 3-month camp. I like the fact that it's young, so the average age is 21. I think that's a very, very good thing. But we'll get onto the women's selection just now.
Oh.
I think all the guys there that deserve to be there. Peter, as you say, Sibolani, Lewis. I think those guys are gonna, and Forrester. Those guys are gonna have huge benefit for them having this camp rather than twiddling their thumbs on the off season, waiting for the next season.
And
to start.
Devon Murray.
Yeah.
Like obviously we're doing off season things. Devon Murray should be playing in Division 1. You should take a punt on him. He didn't do well for Easterns when he came back from SA under 19, but he's a kid that one should take a punt on in Division 1. I think he's, especially in the limited overs format, I think he's got something. We saw a lot in the under 19 World Cup. He's one of the unsung heroes there. There are a couple of guys you would have thought, something like John James. There's availability questions around that. It is 3 months and the like. So John James, probably Jono and your guys there in that side of the world who deserves.
They're probably playing league cricket. You're probably right. That's probably
and like a guy like a Mikael Prince, he's top of the list here. He's the best batter we have out of this group. And he should be here.
Yeah.
That's
obviously true. That's true.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things around that. But the SA Emerging Academy women, lots of Proteas, which is questionable. But anyway, Anna Kabosh from the Titans, Annery Dirksen from the Garden Route Badgers, Laura Goodall from Western Province, Gandhi Jafta from the Titans, Leah Jones, Deborah Macheke, Oluhle Sio from Boland. She's the SA under 19 captain at the last World Cup. Asake Nyovane from the Badgers. Nondumiso Shangase from the Dolphins, Kayla Reineke from Western Province, Mian Smith Free State, Sarah Smith, Western Province, Nonkulego Tabete, Lions, Dalmi Taka, Western Province, Faith Thundercliff, Western Province. This is a slightly different one because you got a mixture of experience and youth. From compared to the men's where it's largely a youth-based thing because you've got 97 Protea caps between Bosch, Dirksen, Laura Goodall. And Nonkulego Tabeta once played for the Proteas. Dalmi Taka as well adds to that number. Faye Tunnicliffe has played, but Faye's one who should be in the Proteas squad right now. She's had a great season, and should be there. Another name that's missing is Alex Candler. I'm not too sure where she is in the system. She was one of the top performers in the 50 over game, 50 over tournament league this year for the Dolphins, but she's not here. Also, obviously the question of Nondumiso Shangas is here, which is pretty good. Yeah, I would have loved Simone Lawrence to be here. I'd have loved who is it? The keeper Karabo Miso. But I'm assuming also it's an availability thing because Karabo's still in matric. Simone, I assume, also is in matric. So, well, Karabo's not even in matric. She's a couple of years to go. So, schoolwork kind of has to like come forward there. So, I just question the women's academy in terms of why are some established coaches in there if they're not good enough. If you're going to be picking them emerging, then they shouldn't be picked in the Proteas, right? I understand because then you're hindering the development, right? And this is where Alex Candler should be. So that's something I'd like to ask the selection panel. Yeah. Outside of that, Tim, any interesting things happening in your county corner there with your South Africans in county cricket in the last week?
Yeah. So we have David Bellingham is still in fantastic form. Durham, he made 52 with runner ball. Over at Essex, Harmer did his usual 2 for 88. Derbyshire,
That's
Wayne Madsen,
scary.
who, huh?
2 for 88 is scary, but it's fine.
It's so these games are largely affected by a lot of rain at the moment. A lot of rain.
Okay.
So the wickets are flat. The wickets are soft. Don't worry, Simon. When it comes to the when they eventually have some sun, Simon will do his business.
Okay.
Derbyshire's Wayne Madsen, who's basically an Englishman now.
He's an Italian international, Tim. So I don't know why you have him on your
Italian.
list.
That's quite right. 97 not out. Carl Abbott got 4 for 104 for Hampshire.
Ooh,
He
blast
now
from the
has
past.
He now has 600 first-class wickets this week.
Oh,
So it's
congratulations.
a milestone for him. Dane Patterson at Nottinghamshire, 2 for 67. And finally, somebody who's now playing as a local, Martian Talaga, another blast for the past, 6 for 49 for Gloucestershire. So yeah, good all performances all round. They are slightly less than normal because, as I say, there's a lot of rain around. Yesterday's day, there was hardly any cricket yesterday at all. Just a touch on the women's, just very very briefly. Less than half are under the age of 24. That's a problem. That's a problem. If you're calling yourself SA Emerging and less than half are under the age of what you would consider emerging players, that is a problem. I agree with your overall sentiment, but it does speak to the fact that we're not producing enough of what you would consider emerging players to come into the system.
Yeah. No, and that's my thing. And to understand a player like Ayanda Subi, right? She still needs development. Where is she on in this? Is she a fully fledged Protean now? So she no longer needs to be an SA emerging. And so my thing is that it's for the younger Protea players, it would do them a world of good. Like you're bringing in Annika Bosch back, Lara Goodall back, you're bringing Anne Dirksen. It'll give them a lot more confidence being part of SA Emerging and going back up there. Yes, you've thrown her into the deep end. She swam a little bit, but it is fair for her to be a part of the CSA Emerging Academy so she can learn some of the skills and maybe a refresher course. Like you're giving all of these former Proteas. Nonkululeko Tabete last played for the Proteas in like 2012. She's been scoring runs for the Lions for the last decade. Hasn't gotten a call up into the national team again, but you're still bringing her in the plan. So then my question is she in the plans? Is she not? And then if you're bringing in these people, why aren't you then thinking about people who have been great this last season in domestic cricket? We've spoken about the gulf between the Protea women and the domestic scene. Why not bring the best players in the season into this thing if age is not an issue? Right? And if age is not an issue, then Sinetful Yoon should be here. Because she's what we need in the Proteas side. So maybe take her through a camp. And I think some clarification and some clarity is required in that, because I look at the player selection and I sit there going, are we just trying to repolish the same players who've been there for a while and try to see if they can't be better, which is fine. It's a second chance. Okay, happy with that. Then others deserve a second chance. But there needs to be clarity between what you're going to do with Nonkululeko Tabete, what you're doing with Laura Goodall, what you're doing with all the other players there who are Proteas, who played against Sri Lanka. Laura Goodall opened against Sri Lanka, right? But she's here. But then there's other players who played against Sri Lanka but are not here, right? I understand I'm bringing Masabata class. No, I under Ayabonga Kaka, but surely I under Thubi Shupe. And that's my question, right? So there's a lot of availability issues and the like, but you'd have loved for them to be in the setup and to be considered and for them to let us know where they are, right? Because it doesn't bode well if I look at that list and say, okay, who can come into the Proteas women's setup? There's one player who I think can walk in. That's Faye Tunnicliffe. The others have fallen badly in form. So are we trying to get them back into form before the World Cup? And then if so, where are the others? Because there's a whole host of players who need to find their form. Sune Lees needs to find form. She needs game time. Where's she going to be? I understand maybe there's 100 situation here, but I understand he's not playing in the 100. So, yeah, look, we need a separate discussion, a podcast around this, because I'm about to get angry, but I don't want to get angry because, I love that team so much. It's just own goals after own goals after own goals. And that's the thing with CSA. It's one step forward, two steps forward, one back, 3-1, 3-1. And this for the women's team is a one back. But I know Dinesh is going to have them working hard, and I hope that academy works out for them. Okay, let's look at the CSA T20 challenge results. We had the playoffs this week. 2 semifinals and then a final. So let me just take you through the results. We already know who won, so I'm not going to be like killing the suspense. But anyway, if you missed it, the Lions took on the Titans at the Wanderers on Tuesday night in the first semifinal. Wednesday night in the first semifinal. Jack Lees of the Titans batting at 3, scored 64, not out, or 43. The Titans got 131 for 9 in their 20. Ngabayom Zipita 4 for 18. He just kept on taking wickets. One in the first over, and he just kept on putting them in trouble. And the old adage of South African domestic batters don't know how to play spin came true in this game. Cody Yusuf 2 for 25 for the Lions. There he's really important. They use him really well at the Wanderers. He bowls well on that track. Does Cody Yusuf. And then the Lions in reply, Rassie van der Dussen scored 73, not out, or 45 to kind of seal it for the Lions. That's what this team is. They've got a top 4 of Reza, Ryan Rickleton, Rassie van der Dussen, and Tema Bavuma. One of them just needs to put their hand up in a situation like this. And Rassie did so really, really nicely. And that was that. Tim, when you looked at that semi-final, the Titans just didn't have it from a batting perspective. It was same old for them throughout the season. And their bowling as well, just average. Like it was we like you sat there going, I see why this team finished 4th.
Yeah, it was a case of that. I kept waiting for them to click. I kept waiting for them to come together. There definitely were positives, but on the day, the gulf between them and the Lions was significant. Dominguez only been at the Lions for 5 minutes, but it feels like he's been there for like 2 or 3 years.
They look like an international side.
Yes, it feels like he's already built what he wants to build already. Um, and that's a huge credit to him and the rest of the coaching setup, which is an international setup. It really is an international setup. But as I say, that I think the Titans just obvious disappointment, but I think a lot of them can feel a lot of pride. I think I said my bit about Visa, but I actually think he would have benefited the youngsters by having him there, and the
Mm.
fact that they found an 11 where he and Jack Lees could play together. That was important for me. You needed somebody like Lees to play, and for him to be able to play and show his skills, which he absolutely did at the semi-final, would have done him no harm at all. Um, and I think Rivaldo Munsami, I think he had a good tournament as well. So lots of positives from their point of view, with the obvious disappointment that they lost. The Titans just showed that why they are just so good at the moment. They are, unfortunately, from my point of view, the Manchester City of cricket in our context.
Okay,
They are.
okay. Let's get to the other one, the Manchester City of cricket. The Dolphins in the second semi-final hosted the Warriors. Remember, the Dolphins played the Warriors on the Sunday, and they won again to host for the right to host the final in Durban. The Warriors batting first put up 161 for four, and Dylan Mokhakane 77 of 45. He's had a great season in the CSA T20, and you can see that he made it into the emerging side as well. So that's a good thing for him. And yeah, actually, he's not in the emerging side. That's an interesting one. Sorry, I was just checking that. But then in reply, the Dolphins got there towards the end with a little bit of help from Kaya Zondo, 49 of 23, John Smart's 34 of 26. CSA made 2 for 38, but it wasn't enough to stop the Dolphins from advancing to the final. This one was the same as those two. You could have tossed a coin, and the team with the better momentum and the better form managed to get into the final. Both batting lineups weren't humming as much, but it was good to see Akai Zondo put his hand up in a big spot again. A lot of people have forgotten about him. A lot of people have written him off, but opening at the top kind of helped him get some sort of positivity and runs under his belt.
And now that move, which was enforced because of the Bryce Parsons injury, has certainly worked for Kaya, and it actually it benefited the team. There's absolutely no doubt, because they were able to get off to quick starts at the back end of the tournament to get them on a roll. Look, the Warriors. We warned it. We warned it several weeks ago. We said the only issue we have with the Warriors is consistency and maintaining that. They started off like a fire, but I certainly thought it was very possible that this was going to happen. That he came young, talented, enthusiastic, play the cricket the right way, but when it came to the nitty gritty, when it came to the fine moments of games where they absolutely had to close the door, for whatever reason, I think they are a variety of reasons, they were not able to do it. I think while the Titans can feel a lot of pride for the way that they performed because they lost a lot of players, I think the Warriors should be very disappointed, simply because of how well they started this tournament, and to not at least make the final, I would imagine, would be a large disappointment on their front. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are the nearly men, aren't they? They are the nearly men. But they timed their season perfectly. And in a final, which we will discuss now, anything can happen. But they timed their season, unlike the Warriors, perfectly. Started slowly, but then timed it at the right time with enough players. They're not just relying on players, they had enough players contributing, which is why they were able to get into that final. And I certainly thought, although it was reasonably close, I certainly thought they were the the better team in the semi-final. I don't think there was any
Look, I think
real
they're the
doubt
best
about that.
team for the last weekend or last 10 days of the CSA T20 Challenge regular season. They were better than the Warriors in every aspect, and you kind of felt one team was doing this, the other team was doing that. Other way,
Mm.
one team was doing this, the other team was doing that. Yes, going down. And to a certain extent, they know how to be in these spots, and they planned it right. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And the Warriors had secured themselves a semi-final, and at times we thought they were one game away from securing a home final and a home semi-final. And when it mattered, they and you could say they're young, and to an extent the Titans can argue that they were building a young side. They were trying to get them in, and maybe next year we'll see something. But yeah, for the Titans and the Dolphins and the Warriors, I think Titans won't be as disappointed, but the Warriors will be very disappointed. They do this every season. Get close, give us hope. They've got some great players, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh snap, here it comes when it matters. Yeah, similar to a team whose crest I'm wearing today. When it matters, sometimes things fall apart. Cool. Finally, let's talk about that final at the Wanderers. A bit of a crowd. Was yeah, CSA guys, come on. Come on. But obviously, you don't know the venue of the final. But still, try and in those 3 days, try pump the airways, pump the radio stations, try and get people to the things. Twitter and social media is great, and we love it, but it doesn't put seats in the stadium. And what puts seats in the stadium is TV, is radio, is all those adverts. Advertise on Supersport, advertise on SABC, advertise on radio, just get people in there. It's a T20 game. It's 3 hours. You can sell that to fans, right? Especially with the team, as Tim says, that is looking like the Man City of South African domestic cricket, right? But anyway, the Lions hosted the Dolphins in a final of the CSA T20 Challenge. Lions hoping to get their second trophy of the season. Remember, they won the 4-day competition. The Dolphins looking to get their first. These two teams have played each other so many times. It was a 1-1 in the regular season. Dolphins winning in Durban, Lions winning here. In the final, Dolphins won the toss, batted first. Dolphins put up 165 for 8, with Jason Smith putting 51 of 33. Kazondo scored, I think, a 36 to start off with. We saw Bryce Parsons come in there, but you kind of felt that it wasn't enough with this power-packed batting lineup. But you never know. It's a good competitive total. Then what happened was a precursor and an audition and a tape for this one man, Reza Hendrick, 73 not out of 52, effectively saying to everyone else that, hey, I'm here, I'm opening at the World T20, and this is the reason why. Beautiful 73 not out of 52. Vian Mulder, who also put his hand up in the face of Marco Janssen, not getting a lot of game time in the IPL, saying, I'm also here too. 55 not out of 26. Cody Yusuf, 2 for 16. Bjorn Fortuin, the captain, 2 for 22. And the Lions are crowned CSA T20 champions. They were always the best team on paper, Tim. But we always say cricket's not played on paper. But you are saying that this is Man City of thinking they had Kagiso Rabada start for them at the beginning of the season. They also had Gwenama Parker. Both went to the IPL. But they had Cody Yusuf come in. Ngabayomzi Peter came in. And the thing about Ngabayomzi Peter was he was the third choice spinner. Junaid Dawood was given an opportunity to play before Ngabayomzi Peter. When Ngaba took that role, he took it with aplomb. He took 20 wickets this season. Number 3 wicket taker. He didn't even play all the games. Imagine if he had played all the games with this team. But then the batting, Temba Bavuma contributed. Reza contributed. Ryan Rickleton contributed a lot to this team's cause. Raisi van Edissen also contributed. Both Reza and Raisi coming from the PSL, really, really awesome. They left the Pakistan Super League as 1 and 2, as 2 and 3 run scorers in the PSL behind Baba Azam, and they just kept on with that form. Then after that, we had Vian Mulder, who's trying to resurrect his Protea life. He's trying to get us to trust him again. And I'm ready, Vian. I'm ready to trust you again. I like what I see. I'm ready to give my World Cup hopes to you. And let the Proteas World Cup live and die on you. I'm saying this jokingly, but if you give us these performances, batting at number 7, bowling bowling as well as you have been so far this season, there's only one thing I can do and is believe. You also give the Proteas the opportunity to, in a collapse, for you to come in and bat at number 4 and just hold off from giving David Miller and Heinrich Klaassen a lot of overs to get, right? And try and bridge the gap between the front end and the back end of the innings. You do that really well. You give strike to players. You have the ability to do that. And if anybody saw what happened yesterday, it was just an audition from two guys who are not at the IPL, who but are still as good as the guys who are in the IPL and will be very important for the Proteas World Cup chances. Tim, how did you see that final?
Um, so I thought the Dolphins had potentially had enough. I thought their bowling attack could have defended that total. I think they would have liked an extra, maybe 15 or so. But I didn't think it was an easy wicket to bat on at the first wicket, as the Dolphins' top order showed that it wasn't necessarily coming on. It was coming on a little bit too paced for them, for their liking. The big one, of course, was losing Bryce so early in the run out. That was absolutely crucial from a Lions point of view. Then I thought they fought really hard with the ball, but I did find this a bit odd, where it looked like things were steering towards the Lions in terms of a comfortable win. So they brought Andila on. He gets a wicket. It's 84 for 3. And he doesn't bowl again until the game is basically 30 or 40 runs. But, 30 or 40 runs at like 6 and over with 7 wickets in hand. I thought that was a bit odd that he only bowled that one over. That didn't quite make. But I thought in general they fought hard. They tried to make it difficult, but against that power hitting of that line setup, it was going to be very, very difficult. It needed to get every member of the top 4 out relatively cheaply. And all it needed from a Lions perspective was one guy to stay in. And then as the innings progressed, as we saw with Reza, he got more confident and he played his natural game. And he was, absolutely superb. And it's a bit tired, this one, but watching him is really, really good. It's really good on the eye. Watching Reza really is an attractive proposition. So there's no doubt about it. The Lions deserve the win, and I think the Dolphins tried really hard to make it as competitive as they did. But there's no doubt in all facets of the on the day, Dolphins were the better outfit. In their own backyard, of course.
The Lions were the better outfit. So I think that's essentially what it was. They were the best team on paper. They were struggling to get it going at the beginning, but they kept on ticking along, getting wins. The losses came, but they kept on making sure that they didn't, continually lose more than one game in a row, and it helped them build momentum. When it mattered, the big guy stood up, and that's all that matters. Reza and Rassi stood up in the semifinals and the final, and you could say it says a lot. And Ryan Mickleton as well. I think Reza and Ryan should be on the plane to the Caribbean. I know everyone's going to be crying about Matthew Bretzker and everyone else, but it's a different class here that you're dealing with these Lions players than what you're getting with like a Matthew Bretzker. But he'll get there. But now you've got Reza in red hot form. You cannot waste it anymore from a Proteas perspective. Tim, I want to ask you who the most valuable player is for the tournament later on. But let's look at the top run scorers. I've put up the top 13 run scorers. Matthew Bretzker finished the tournament with 467 runs, an average of 35.92 and a strike rate of 131. He'll be very happy with that. The only different thing that he might be disappointed in is he never got onto that 100 run scorers list because there were only 3 of them. Ryan Rickleton from the Lions, 441, an average of 40 and a strike rate of 144. Kind of elaborating essentially what I've been saying is that Ryan and Rees are just a level above Matthew Brits, especially if you look at that strike rate. Reza Hendricks from the Lions, number 3, 440, with an average of 36 and a strike rate of 140. He's really done well to push that strike rate up over the years. Ronan Hadman, his first, not Ronan, Ruben Hadman of the Northwest, his first T20 challenge, 436 runs with a century and average of 39 and a strike rate of 145. He's such an asset to the Northwest, and I'm glad that they're keeping him. Rivaldo Moonsami started off well, but couldn't do. Tapered off towards the back end, 428, with an average of 30 and a strike rate of 140. Ruben Hadman, Rivaldo Moonsami will be key assets in the SA20 auction later on this year. Jordan Hadman, also 349 runs, an average of 31 and a strike rate of 113. You'd want that strike rate to increase a little bit more there. Sponelo Makanya, he showed us a glimpse of what he can do in the SA20. He then came on with 348 runs at an average of 26 and a strike rate of 132. Really good season for a guy who wasn't thought of as a T20 player, is doing really well now. Carl Verena of the Western Province, 335 runs at an average of 30 with a strike rate of 130. Honorable mentions, Rassi van der Dissen, 331 runs, average of 36, a strike rate of 136. Renat van Tonde, who is effectively having his first CSA T20 season, 330 runs, 117 strike rate. You'd want the strike rate to go up. Andile Mokhakane, rounding up just after the top 10, 297 runs, average of 29, but a strike rate of 123. He was really key with some really, really big innings. Jason Smith for Tim, rounding it off with a strike rate of 134, and Bryce Parsons there, 147 strike rate. So, anybody you're happy with here, Tim, that you want to talk about and highlight?
Jason Smith.
Number 12. Number 12.
No, but I said some weeks ago I wanted to have a good back end of the tournament, and he did. And he played a huge part in getting the Dolphins to close to the final. Would you like my MVP?
Wait. We still need to do the wickets. Top wicket taker. Yes,
go
Tim.
ahead.
Cool. CSA Metu of the Warriors, 21 wickets at an average of 16, economy rate of 6.03. Congratulations to him. Really, really awesome. Great find there, Robbie P. We are so excited for his future. Bear Swanepoel as well, 21 wickets at an average of 16.8, an economy rate of 7.67. Really impressive bowling by Bears. Good luck in the county cricket scene. Ngaba Peter played 10 games. You see, everyone's played 15 and 12 games. He played 10 games, took 20 wickets, an average of 9.5 as a leg spinner, 5.84 economy rate, and a strike rate of 9.75. That's a wicket every 10 balls. That is unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. And he's had 2 4-wicket hauls in the season, and really, really awesome. Like, what a find. And his captain, Bjorn Fortuin, 18 wickets at a strike rate, at an average of 18, strike rate, economy rate of 5.85. David Visa coming through with 17 wickets. He played 8 games. If he played a lot more for the Titans, they might have actually found a way to at least play the Dolphins and possibly be in that final, at an average of 9.29 and the economy rate of 6.07. And maybe we'll be happy with that return. You've got Carl Simmons, Ogutle Tele. Congratulations to you on a great season, Ogutle, especially after that injury. Cody Yusuf putting his hand up again for the Lions as their guy. He'll always be their guy. They're all format guy. Prenelin Subrian, Miguel Petores had to leave early, 15 wickets, an average of 12. Bulelo Budaza, Luto Sipamla after that injury. Congratulations to him, 2 with 14 wickets. And Patrick Kruger coming through, rounding out the 13. Anybody you want to highlight, Tim, here for an incredible season?
Cody. I think Cody deserves a huge amount of credit. I think he's come in leaps and bounds in recent months this season. I think he's had a bit of a breakaway season. I really do. I think he's now basically said if you if the big boy's not available, I'm your leader. He's now actually a leader of an attack, and it doesn't actually daunt him. He actually seems to
Mm,
enjoy the responsibility of being that leader. He certainly seems to have gained an extra yard of pace, which makes a huge amount of difference, particularly on our
mm,
wickets. Um, I think he's been exceptional. I really do, uh, I really thought he bowled exceptionally well throughout the tournament. Um, even in that final over
mm.
where the Dolphins could have got to sort of 170 plus if Jason Smith had anything to do with it, and he just said, "No,
Yeah,
mate, this is my show." Um, I thought he was really good. It's been a very very impressive season for
yeah.
him.
And he's done it for across all formats, right?
Yeah,
1 day cup, 4 day cup. He's been the most consistent player, and I think he is the Lions player of the season. If it's not going to be Ryan Rickleton, it's going to be him. He's done an incredible job for them. Whatever they've required of him, he's done. And to a certain extent, I think he's even leaped himself above a Duan Janssen. And you have questions around this, right? Like I sit and think, had Cody Yusuf gone to New Zealand instead of Duan, what would have happened? Not Duan Janssen, Duan Olivier. Could things have been different? Because we saw how good Tip of Mareki was, but he just didn't have that lethal nature to him. Cody Yusuf's got it, and he takes wickets, and really, really awesome to see. So yeah, well done, Tim. Who's your MVP for the season? Most valuable player?
every in the T20 challenge, it's got to be for me Vian. I thought he was exceptional. So Vian, 248 runs at an average of 35, strike rate
Mm,
of 140. In the wickets, 11 wickets, average of 18, economy of just over 7. That ticks all the boxes that we want as from a Proteas point of view. There was a lot of pressure on him this season, as there has been for the last couple of seasons when he's come back from his county stint. This is the first one where I've thought he's actually, if not embraced it, he's accepted it. He's accepted that responsibility, he's accepted that pressure, and it hasn't got to him.
mm.
And I think he's done well throughout the season across the formats. Um, I think that for the first time in a good while, he feels like he's in a good place to me. He looks like he's in a good place, playing very good cricket, and the way he's going about his batting in particular is hugely impressive for me. Uh, Yesterday's final, he came in a tricky position. 80 for 3, it wasn't over. It was by no means over, by no means easy, and he dominated that Dolphins attack. He made sure that there was absolutely no question about who was going to win. So for me, it's got to be Vian.
Okay, that's awesome. I would agree with you, but I'm going to go with two. Ryan Rickleton, from a batting perspective, very close with Reza Hendricks, and Ngaba Peter from a bowling perspective. I think Ngaba Yomzi Peter really changed the trajectory of this Lions side. They could have won this without him, but with him he made damn sure. Would have been tough to win it without him, but now like he's been so good. Like he's been like I see we've seen a lot of leg spinners come through in the country, but his ability to control the ball, he's bowling like he's been doing it for years. Like he went to the Imran Tahir School of bowling, and he's just now ripping it through. So I'm excited for him. He's going to get a lot of money in the SA 20. So I'm really looking forward to see Nova Peter bowling, hopefully for the Joburg Super Kings. But if not, any other team that needs a risky spinner. So I really, really am excited for him. And yeah, I think that's going to be the end of it, Tim. The World Cup squad is going to be announced tomorrow morning. That is Tuesday, the 30th of April. It'll be via Zoom, but obviously we'll be on the Zoom. And yeah, we'll talk about it probably even tomorrow. Have an emergency show talking about who the 15 men Rob Walters has chosen to represent South Africa in the USA and the Caribbean. But outside of that, remember you can follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The community is growing. Thank you very much. Also on X at Full Quarter Pod. Subscribe to the One World Sports Radio channel where we put our YouTube faces that you're seeing right now. And yeah, thank you very much for the support. Until next time, it's goodbye and lesale kakagis.